Tesla just released an all-new, totally refreshed Model Y that has some incredible new features you're gonna wanna know about, but you can't buy it everywhere. That's some bad news. But some good news is that they just released a brand new standard range Model Y here in the US that is thousands of dollars cheaper than what we had before, making the Model Y more affordable than it's ever been before. Plus, we've got some all-new info on a plaid Model 3, some brand new colors, and some other new features coming to both the Model 3 and Model Y. And Tesla just canceled one of their most popular models with maybe some more cancellations on the way. Let me break down all the big news happening in the wild world of Tesla, tell you about all these huge changes, and like the top 10 things you need to know about the big changes coming to the Model 3 and Model Y. So let me sort of start with the obvious and get that out of the way. Yes, as you probably know, the Model 3 just got a very big redesign. I'm not gonna make this whole video rehashing old news you probably already know, but I will say for those who may have missed this news, or specifically if you live in the United States or if you live in North America, you may not know this model exists because Tesla has this weird policy where they will not acknowledge this new Model 3 exists, at least here in the United States and North America as a whole. They have not commented on it. I don't believe Elon has said anything about it. And multiple people who have talked to Tesla representatives say they just call this car a rumor and Tesla doesn't comment on rumors, even though this car officially exists. Doesn't exist at all here, at least in North America. The best reason, probably according to Tesla, is that it's awkward because it sort of, well, I guess it puts owners in an awkward spot. On one hand, current incentives make the Model 3 a really great deal, but if all these people buying Model 3s really knew about all the features they were missing, the big design overhaul and how this was basically the biggest Model 3 update that's ever been, seen and how it's going to be coming to the US in a couple of months, they may not buy the Model 3 right now, and Tesla doesn't want to cannibalize those sales, so they just lie and say this car doesn't exist. What makes this even more awkward is that overseas in China, Tesla is making these Model 3s at Giga Shanghai in droves. There are tons and tons of these all-new refreshed Model 3s about to be delivered to customers. Here in North America, we're hearing Fremont is working on the transition, but it is months and months and months behind China, so we're not going to see this car for quite some time, but come back to that more in a moment. Deliveries of this all-new Highland refresh Model 3 are going to begin like right now in the month of October in select countries around the world, and some owners are already getting email notifications telling them to jump on and get ready because their delivery is going to happen soon. And as for the rumored plaid Model 3, things here are very interesting. According to an Inside EV report, the T in the 8th position of the VIN number represents a change to the motor of the Model 3 performance, and typically the T in that sort of 8th position indicates a plaid powertrain of the Model S and Model X over in Europe. Obviously, Tesla wouldn't want their $50,000 car to outperform their $90,000 car just yet. I'll come back to that more in a second, but Inside EV speculates that there is going to be a change in the motor, and there might be one plaid powertrain, one plaid motor coming to the Performance Model 3, giving you better speeds and like the best Model 3 performance we've ever seen, but it's not going to be, I believe it's a triple motor plaid, at least in the X. It's not going to be the full plaid powertrain in the plaid S and X, because those are reserved for, the higher end, more expensive Teslas, but we are going to get a piece of the plaid in the Model 3 performance, or at least some kind of new motor structure to give you some better performance. That's going to be better than the outgoing Performance Model 3 we've had for the last couple of years. Also, the current Model 3 Performance has upgraded brakes and larger wheels, and we expect that to be the case with this new refresh Model 2, though as Tesla has redesigned the wheels for these new standard range and long range models, we expect to see some sort of update to the Uber turbines as well, swapped out for something new on this Performance Model 3. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like. Surprisingly, it hasn't leaked just yet, but as soon as this Model 3 Performance is official from Tesla, looks like it's going to be coming basically any day now. Hopefully we'll get some new performance wheels and maybe some other cool performance features just for this new high-end Model 3. Moving on from that, I've got some good news and bad news for anyone in the United States that is a Tesla owner or a potential owner. Some bad news first is that yes, while I mentioned the Model 3 is coming to the United States and the North American market, it's quite delayed. As of right now, the latest rumor says that Tesla won't release this model in the US or even Canada or Mexico as well until Q1 of 2024. So we're at least 6 months out from the launch of this new Model 3 here in North America. But some new rumors suggests that Tesla may begin offering something a little exciting in the meantime to sort of make the Model 3 and Model Y a bit more exciting and a bit more tempting. As of right now, it looks like Tesla might begin offering a vehicle wrap directly from them, so you can wrap your new Model 3 or Model Y in a fun new color or design or pattern directly from Tesla, and you can get it from them maybe even when you take delivery. And also, like I just mentioned, I've got some exciting updates on new colors because it looks like Tesla is finally, after years, bringing some new color options here to us in the US for the Model 3 and Model Y. Obviously, over in Europe and other parts of the world, we've got Midnight Cherry, Quicksilver, two beautiful colors. There's Ultra Red, but that's only on the S and the X, and I guess there's two new colors for the new Model 3 as well, Ultra Red and Stealth Gray. But here in the US, we've gotten no change to the 3 and the Y in all the time they've been on the market. We've had the same black, white, blue, gray, and red since the beginning. 5 gray colors, but 5 colors in even update. And it looks like we're finally going to be getting some new colors soon, starting with the Model Y potentially. After some brief downtime at Giga Texas over the last couple of weeks, the factory is now back up, and many speculate there's an all-new paint shop there that's sort of in service and ready to go to begin making some of these new state-of-the-art colors. We've seen a couple of different spy shots of exactly what this casting color could look like. Some say it's Stealth Gray, some say it's going to be Quicksilver. We don't exactly know what it is, but it sort of alludes to the fact that Tesla is going to be upgrading their paint shop capabilities here in the US to bring some of those international colors over to the United States to start finally offering some new colors to United States customers, which is sort of a great thing, especially as we are months away from a Model 3 refresh here in the US and years away from a Model Y refresh. Something in the meantime would be nice, and it looks like Tesla's got 2 ideas in mind: new colors and official wraps directly from Tesla themselves, hopefully launching before the end of the year. Moving from that, we've also got some exciting updates on the Model Y refresh we've got to talk about because things here are getting really interesting these days. Well, we already know an official Model Y redesign is coming. It's called Project Juniper internally. It's going to bring all the changes from the refreshed Model 3 to the Model Y. You're going to get that new design, rear screen, all that stuff. But this isn't expected to be launching until the end of 2024. And if Tesla follows the same pattern with the Y they did with the 3, we may not get this new Model Y in North America until maybe the first half of 2025. So we're talking at least a year and a half, probably 2 years out from seeing a new Model Y here in North America, which means that if you want a Model Y, you're going to have to buy what's going to be an outdated car and just sort of live with those consequences, or there might be one other option. We had heard some rumors from at least one Chinese Tesla analyst that the company was working on sort of a stopgap Model Y that would bring some new features from the Highland refresh, but not all until Project Juniper, the total refresh, is ready to go. And it looks like that stopgap update is here and actually launching way earlier than expected. Tesla very quietly updated the Model Y to very little fanfare, just sort of a stealthy update on their Tesla China website. And there are like 3 or 4 big upgrades here that you're going to want to know about. One, the immediate thing you're going to notice on the outside of this car is that we've got new Gemini wheels, or I should say a new black color offering on the Gemini wheels versus the silver that we've had before. So here's a side-by-side of the silver we have in North America versus now the new black color offering on the Gemini wheels in China. Love the new look of these wheels. Hopefully Tesla offers these as an option, maybe just a third-party cover on their website. But until we get it in North America, looks really nice and definitely makes the Y look a bit more sleek. Moving on to the inside, a couple of other changes here to take note of, some cosmetic differences here. One is that while we didn't get a new dashboard offering similar to that of the Highland refresh Model 3, we did get several changes to the dashboard. One is that the dashboard material has changed. The wood is no longer there. We sort of got this new, looks like some sort of soft touch material. Not exactly sure what it is. Some new textile textured material here, though it has the same design. But there is new ambient lighting built in that is sort of very reminiscent to the Model 3. And also there's been some talk and some some confusion and discussion on whether this is hardware 3 or hardware 4. I have seen different opinions from different analysts. Some say this is hardware 4, some say it's only hardware 3. Unclear as of right now, but those are the major changes with this sort of mini refresh Model Y. And before you even ask, no, there have been no changes to the Model Y here in North America. Fremont, Giga Texas, I believe even Giga Berlin are making the exact same Model Y, so this is only in China for now, though if Tesla follows their own history, we will see this Model Y roll out internationally sometime over the next couple of months, though given the fact that the Model 3 refresh is not in the States just yet, I'd expect we won't see this Model Y refresh, at least in North America, probably for at least 6 to 9 months. So we might see a more gradual rollout internationally. It is here, it is new. This is the latest Model Y you can get, but only available in China as of right now. But in the meantime, before we even get to all that, I should mention that Tesla is making some controversial changes to the Model Y that have many owners very upset. For example, they quietly or not so quietly removed the standard range Model Y here in North America. You can no longer order this car in the US, and this car may not come back ever if Tesla doesn't see the demand for it. But while that model is gone, in a surprising turn of events, Tesla actually just released or re-released an all-new standard range Model Y, similar to what we've seen internationally, and similar to something we had a couple of years ago when the Model Y first launched. This is a rear-wheel drive Model Y. It's the base configuration that, unlike the model we had previously, only has one motor instead of two, but it's also now considerably less money, making the Model Y an even cheaper and more affordable car, especially when you consider those sweet, sweet federal tax incentives. So this is the new base Model Y. It's got 260 miles of range, 135 mile top speed, and a 0 to 60 time of 6.6 seconds. Not impressive specs, but I believe it's an LFP-based battery, so you can charge it up to 100% like the standard range rear-wheel drive Model 3, so it's got that going for it. And also, the big thing it's got, of course, is the price. This is $43,990 before any incentives. That's the MSRP purchase price, making it about $7,000 less than the dual-motor long-range version, which is going to get you some more range and performance, but it's also considerably less money. And then when you add into this price the federal $7,500 EV tax incentive that many will qualify for, that's going to bring this car down to what, $35,000-ish, $36,000-ish thousand, making this Model Y a really, really great car for the price. So right now, there's sort of a catch-22. In China, you've got an all-new refresh Model Y that's got some new looks on the outside and inside and is going to be more sporty and modern, while the United States isn't getting any of those refresh features, but is getting a new base model that is considerably less money than the long-range version, and again, thousands cheaper than the all-wheel drive Model Y standard range that we had just a couple of weeks ago. And if we sort of zoom out a bit and look at this all as a whole, what I do think is very interesting about all this and all these changes is what implications these have for the Model S and Model X, because there is a case to be made that with all these new upgrades and improvements to the 3 and the Y, the S and the X maybe aren't needed anymore. I mean, if we look at Tesla's own decisions here, they're taking what once was an exclusive feature of the S and the X and bringing them down to their cheaper cars. The ventilated seats, the stockless design, the rear screen, even parts of the plaid powertrain are going down to the 3 and the Y. On one hand, the 3 and the Y have long been more advanced than the S and the X for years and years, and now these cars, especially with their feature set and with the decline in the price gap, are closer than ever before, and you could make the case that the S and the X, as great as they are, just maybe are too much for Tesla right now. They're too much to produce. The margins just aren't there. They don't sell nearly as many S's or X's as they do 3s and Ys. And many have speculated that Tesla recently cut the price of the S and the X a lot, and very aggressively over the last few months, in order to drive sales and to clear out their existing inventory, because they're simply not needed with these changes coming to the 3 and the Y. There is definitely a world that exists where Tesla removes the S and the X as sort of their legacy vehicles, and they just build a higher-end version of the Model Y and Model 3 with a little bit more of a premium design, maybe more premium materials, maybe a bit bigger, the performance is there, as great as the S and the X are, and don't get me wrong, they're amazing vehicles, if we just look at strict sales numbers, they're just not selling nearly as many of those vehicles as the 3 and the Y. Maybe price decreases will help that, but the 3 and the Y are certainly Tesla's bread and butter. And there is a case to be made that a higher end version of the 3 and the Y would suffice enough of the audience to eliminate the S and the X, though again, that would be a very drastic change. If we look at Tesla's lineup in the next 18 months, it would be, if it sort of stands as the rumors suggest, Model S, Model X, Model 3, Model Y, Cybertruck, $25,000 Model 2, and maybe Robotaxi. That's 7 vehicles. If Tesla was to remove the S and the X, they'd bring it down to 5, which seems way more manageable. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it is a discussion being had in different circles of the Tesla universe online, and I'm curious to your thoughts on that. Does that make sense? Does it not make sense? Let me know your thoughts on the fate of the Model S and Model X in the comments down below. As always, I am curious to what your thoughts are on the sort of Tesla news as a whole, your thoughts on the new updates to the 3 and the Y, your thoughts on the stock list design, new colors. Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. I just want to say thank you for all the kind comments. For some reason, I attract a lot of negative attention on these videos, and I don't know why. So if you're watching this video, drop a comment down below, and if it's a nice comment, it would make my day. I read all the comments. I know people don't like the inflection in my voice, or the news they say is old, or I've seen all the criticisms every time I upload videos. But just to say that I do read the comments, and your kind comments are appreciated. As always, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for your support. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you all in the next one.